Hi flower friends, it's Nicole from Flower Hill Farm, and today I am going to be doing a Q&A. I posted something, I don't remember, maybe 2 weeks ago saying, what are your questions for me? Ask me anything, and I will do my best to answer these. I have not looked at these questions yet. I'm going into this a little bit, I wouldn't say unprepared, but this is going to be a fly by the seat of my pants kind of day, and it might be broken down into 2 videos depending on how many questions and how long-winded I am as well. So how many questions and how long-winded I am, it might be broken into 2 parts. Also though, feel free, if you think of a question while I'm answering these questions, go ahead and put it in the comments and I'll do another. I figure we'd get through the winter together doing videos like this. I hope everyone had a great holiday or still enjoying that holiday. We still have another Christmas to do with my extended family in January. One of the gifts that I received, it was from my mother, and it is wallpaper for the recording studio that's going to be a couple rooms that way in my office house, really. So she got me this huge floral layout. I thought we'd put a video together of us putting wallpaper up. She's done it before, I haven't. That will be an interesting little non-tutorial video of how not to put wallpaper up. I'm sure it'll be fun and it's gonna look great. I'm in the nursery house today. It is very cloudy, very rainy. I don't know what's happening in your neck of the woods, but we are having an extremely mild December. We don't have any snow. We haven't really had any snow. We had a few inches fall. In late November, we had some snowfall, but that disappeared quickly because we've had a very mild winter and very heavy rains. In fact, we had over 3 inches of rain at the nursery. I'll put those clips at the end of this video to show you guys. We did have a little bit of flooding at the nursery, but nothing serious. So those clips are at the end of this video. Okay, let's look at these questions. Have you ever considered going no-dig? No. Do you grow Icelandic poppies? Yes, I have grown Icelandic poppies and I save the seeds from my Icelandic poppies. And yes, you can store them in the freezer or the refrigerator. Yes, it's true that the germination is a bit better if you do store them in the freezer or the fridge. However, I did not store mine in the freezer or the fridge last year, no stratification, and I still had amazing germination. They were very fresh seed though. It was seed that I saved from my own poppies, and I did the same this year. But yes, if you are purchasing Icelandic poppy seeds, and a lot of other seeds too, you can store them in the fridge or the freezer for cold stratification. Any advice on flowers and greenery or filler that is deer resistant and shade tolerant? I guess a stilby is a nice shade tolerant filler, but it's not green filler, it's just a filler. You can use Bouquet. I've grown that in a shady area. Actually, it grows taller because it's stretching for the light. Not a pure shade area, but a partial shade area. I would say hosta because hosta loves shade and hosta does make a good filler flower, or filler. But the deer would probably eat that. You could try some heuchera. Heuchera also does well in shade, but the deer, in my experience, I left some heuchera in the back of the nursery outside while we were cleaning out one of the greenhouses, and the deer ate that down to the nubs. So heuchera being deer resistant. Dame's Rocket, while some areas it's considered invasive, it's not in my area. Dame's Rocket is shade tolerant, actually prefers the shade, and the deer don't touch that in my area. That could be something as well. Someone's asking for flowers to use in wedding arrangements, zone 5B next November. November would be tricky because I'm not sure what your frost date is, but usually you've seen a frost by November in a zone 5. But like you said here, you're thinking fresh and dried and possibly having them in a tunnel. I would actually try some heirloom mums because those don't bloom until later in the season and they can tolerate a little bit of cold and they grow really well in a tunnel. I would go for some heirloom mums. As far as what dried flowers you can put in with them, you could try some amaranth. That would be really pretty. Maybe some bleeding coral, like love lies bleeding, or other really beautiful dangling amaranth. That would look really nice in a bridal bouquet. What else in November? Like I said, you can do filler flowers in November. I actually had stock blooming in November in my high tunnel this year, along with the heirloom mums. My heirloom mums finally kicked the bucket, the week before Thanksgiving. So it's not impossible. You can do it. I would look up some heirloom mums. Farmer Bailey has some on sale right now, not on sale, but for sale. You could check out some really interesting offerings, but they're not your cookie cutter heirloom mums. You can find some really cool ones, and those would, I think, be your best bet for growing into November for bridal. And you could also throw some seed down in there for filler. You know what really did well in the tunnel late for me this year was honeywort and snow on the mountain. That lasted a long time. Those really look beautiful with any flowers. What were the final wall color paint picks for the house at the nursery? I don't know if I landed on a specific color, but we're going with a light blush color. Think white with a hint of pink. That is the color that I'm going for throughout the living room and the offices here at the nursery. Will you be doing any consultations? Actually, I just decided last week that I was going to have some downtime in January. I do have a couple of engagements. I am speaking at a conference in the Catskills in January. I have a couple of other things going on that is going to be taking my time work-wise, but I do have some downtime in January. So I thought, because I get questions every day, do you do any consultations? I thought I would do a few consultations via video/phone, either one, whatever you choose, just short ones, 20 minutes, because that's about all I can really afford to spend doing this. But those are available on my website. I just posted them the other day. Thank you to all of you who've already booked your consultation. I will be contacting those who booked the consultation in January to set up a time for a video or a phone chat. I thought it would be a nice way to connect with some of you guys who have these questions and who would like a little bit more of a one-on-one. And it's also a way for me to raise a little bit of money to help start the nursery this year. Like I said, those are on my website. I'll put the link in the description if you guys are interested in booking a one-on-one consultation. I'm not doing a ton of them. I can't spend the whole month of January doing them, but I will be booking quite a few. So you should, if you're interested, you should be able to get a spot. Someone's asking if there's an update on the cut poly at the nursery greenhouse. They're talking about a couple of months ago, was headed out to put the open sign out by the road, and I noticed there was some intentional damage on the poly. Someone took their fingers basically and poked holes in a few spots, and then they scratched the poly all the way down with their hands. It was most definitely human. It was not an animal. And although there is animal damage, there are cats that climb all over the thing. You can see paw prints and holes from kitty cats. However, Brad and I, we do have security footage everywhere. We have security cameras all over the place, and they're cameras that record. And we scrolled back through about 7 days and we didn't see anything, and our eyes were bleeding. Like, you know, you're looking through 24 hours of footage again and again and again, and this is a busy place, so there's a lot of traffic, so you're watching and watching and watching. We did not see anything. We went back 7 days, and we just said, you know what, this could have happened a month ago, and I was just noticing it because it was kind of the first time that we were open for mom season and I was putting the sign out. So it could have happened at any point over the summer, and I just didn't notice it. So no, there's no update on the damage to the poly. It wasn't bad enough damage that it needed to be repaired other than a piece of tape. However, it was more disheartening than anything to see that someone would intentionally do that damage. However, it was at a height that it could have been a child. So I don't want to make any accusations that it was done with criminal intent, like someone going, "Rah, I hate this place." It could have been just a curious child, because the poly does puff up like a bubble, and that looks like it's fun to play with. Sometimes I go boop boop to get a little bounce back on the poly. So I can see how it would be enticing for a child. I don't want to say that it was ill-intended, but you never know. But no, there's not an update other than my husband and I looked back about a week of security footage and didn't see anything, and decided that it wasn't really worth our time to look further since there was no real damage done. Someone's asking about the grow lights that I use. I don't really use grow lights. I just use LED lights. They're shop lights. They're like a 5K, high lumens, stuff like that. I'll put a link in the description to some shop lights that I would use and that I do use. in the description. What high tunnels do I use at the farm? I actually have Farmer's Friend high tunnels. I have two 50-foot ones, and we just put them back to back so that I have a 100-foot long tunnel now. Which company sells the red and white snapdragon seeds that I grow? They were called Delilah. Yes, they're called Delilah, but there's also a variety that looks exactly the same called, I think it's Night and Day, or Day and Night, Night and Day. Those are gorgeous. They are amazing. I purchased mine from Geo Seeds, and I can't remember if they're called Night and Day or Delilah there. Red Delilah is actually the name. So Red Delilah or Night and Day. They're gorgeous. They're one of my favorite snapdragons. Did you think owning a nursery would be such a fun adventure? I had no idea. It was another one of those spontaneous decisions that I made, like, I'm gonna buy that place. Did I think it was gonna be such a fun adventure? No. And I was reminded the other day, after I posted the nursery recap, like the holiday pop-up recap, my friend Lila messaged me and said, just watched your nursery recap of the holiday pop-up, and it's everything that you wanted. It's everything that you wanted. And I was like, oh wow, she's right. It was my desire to create a community hub where people can come and gather and buy plants and talk about plants and get really a therapeutic energy when they come in. That's what it was. It was hundreds of people coming to my store and enjoying the hard work of other crafters and having hot cocoa and chatting, and Christmas music was playing, and everyone just maybe I'm blind to it, but everyone, in my opinion, was having a good time. It looked really like everyone had fun and they were enjoying themselves. It was just like a little jolt of holiday cheer. And yes, that's exactly what I wanted this place to be. So yeah, thank you, Lila, for removing my blinders of what's next, and actually taking the time to sit and reflect and enjoy on what I've done so far. So I don't do that often. Thank you for the kick in the pants. It was nice. Okay. Bouquet recipes for spring, summer, and fall. That's really a complicated question. You can look back at my bouquet making videos, and I do a lot of recipes there. You can see what I'm putting together. And then you're also asking when to start the seedlings to have them mature on time. Well, every seed has a days to maturity. And the way that you can plant things so that they're on time is to take the day that you say you want flowers on July 20th. And then you have certain seeds, count back. So say it's, 80 to 100 days or 110 to 120 days, whatever flower you're hoping to be harvesting on July 20th, count back. So you might be starting snapdragons a lot earlier than you would start Rudbeckia, because Rudbeckia has a shorter days to bloom. So if you wanted to harvest snapdragons and Rudbeckia on July 20th, you would count back according to their days to maturity and start the seeds then. Snapdragons and Rudbeckia look great together, by the way. Love them. However, I start Rudbeckia the same time as my snapdragons because they're cut and come again flowers, which means that you can cut Rudbeckia, say, on June 10th, and then again, and then again, and then again. Basically, Rudbeckia will feed you with flowers through till frost. And even after frost, it kind of looks gorgeous. Will you be hiring staff to help you with videos, nursery, flower farm in the coming year? Yes, my plan is to bring on a couple part-time people. It's tricky though, because you have to understand that owning a small business comes with a lot of expenses. So me actually hiring someone on the books part-time, I will then be required to carry workers' comp insurance. And those are huge expenses for a small business that, in the infancy of a business, turning a profit is not really easy. So I have to calculate what my workers' comp insurance, employee insurance, all of those fees will be to see what I can afford as far as employees. And that's something I'm going to be working on in January and February, because I will be wanting to have someone come on probably March and help me through the busy season. So, it's one of those things that has to be calculated. It just can't be done flippantly. Did anyone tell you that you reminded them of Alicia Silverstone? Yes. Actually, my nickname in high school was Cher. And it was mostly because, okay, my hair has always been like this. And in high school, I had a middle part. So, yeah, it was as if and whatever. All throughout high school when Clueless came out, I was in middle school, but it gained popularity when I was in high school. And yes, so I was constantly called Cher and Alicia Silverstone in high school. Not so much now. Really, people don't call me that now. Mostly I get Olivia Wilde. I don't really see it other than we have round faces. I do have a couple pictures where I do like, oh my gosh, yeah, I look like Olivia Wilde. When I was younger, when Alicia Silverstone was in the forefront of Hollywood, yes, I got that a lot. Alrighty, I'll do a couple more for this video and then I'll do more for another video. What is the most versatile go-to cut flower you always wish you grew more of? And that is Rudbeckia. All of them. I can't get enough of it. I gotta be honest with you. This past year, I'm showing my laptop. This past year, I only grew Sahara Rudbeckia, which I'll never be upset with that. It's always gorgeous. And this is beautiful, beautiful, all different colors, all different shapes. It's magical, really. But I missed the Prairie Sun with the green centers. I missed the Indian Summer, all of the other varieties. So this year, I already have all of the seeds for all of the other varieties. And I don't think it was an intentional thing this year with not growing the other varieties. It was more like a bad germination year for Rudbeckia. So I actually have some plugs coming in April, I believe. And I'm gonna be planting Rudbeckia plugs this year for my cut flower farm. And a lot of people ask me how I'm gonna manage to do it all. And that's something that I'm gonna be transitioning more to for the flower farm is, yes, I will be starting seeds for certain varieties, definitely zinnias, stock, poppies, other things like that. But I am gonna be ordering in plugs as both a time saving and honestly, it's cost savings for me because it is time saving because I don't have to sit there and start tens of thousands of baby seeds. I'm still starting thousands of seeds. I still will be using my basement grow room. However, I will be ordering in plugs that will make the flower farm more realistic for me because I know how much time I spent on pointing to the nursery. I know how much time I spent at the greenhouses this year, and realistically, I'm not going to be able to spend March at home starting tens of thousands of flower seeds for the flower farm. I will, however, be able to set time aside to plant plugs when they come in. So yes, about half of the flowers that I'm growing on the cut flower farm, I'm starting from seed, and the other half I'm growing from plugs. And this year I ordered the plugs from Ball Color Link. Dave Dowling is my rep there, and I believe they come from Grow and Sell in Pennsylvania. Final question I will do on this video, and then I'll do another video, is beginner-friendly flowers to grow with 0.22 acres of land. I actually think that that's about what I had at Brad and I's first house when I had the tiniest postage stamp of a garden, and I would do bulbs. Bulbs are easy for beginners, and unless you have a really bad problem with rodents, usually tend to do pretty good. So I would get some perennials established bulb-wise, like daffodils do really well. I'm telling you, I'm crushing hard on Rudbeckia this year. I always have, really, but I'm recommending it more than ever because it is great. And for some people, it is perennial, so you can leave the plants right in the ground and it'll come back year after year for you. Zinnias, always really easy to start out with. I have a lot of people who start out with just zinnias and then kind of graduate from zinnia school and then add other cut flowers into the mix. So zinnias, Rudbeckia. Rudbeckia can be tricky to start from seed, but if you start enough of them, you'll get enough plants. Cosmos. Cosmos are really a great thing to start from seed, and you can use the greenery as well as the flowers in the bouquets, and that's always whimsical and special. I cannot get enough of cosmos. I'm actually going really heavy on cosmos this year. Inside the deer fence, people. Inside the deer fence, because I've tried that outside the deer fence before, and they chew them down to the ground. I think amaranth and celosia are really great, and that I've just sprinkled seeds sometimes and they just pop up. And amaranth is a really short day to maturity. So if you're looking for a quick turnaround, amaranth is really a good way to go. Hot biscuits is like 60 days or something, 55 to 60 days. You can't go wrong with hot biscuits. I love hot biscuits. All right, that'll do it for this video. Again, any other questions, put them in here. Make sure you put like question in all caps before you ask your question, just so we can filter through what's a question, what's a comment. A lot of you guys ask about my supplies for bouquet making. I have a list of them in the description of my video at all times with links to all of the things that I use. I probably should update that because I have started to use different items as well, but we'll see. Okay, I will now put those flooding clips right here. Hi flower friends, it's Nicole from Flower Hill Farm, and we are in the middle of a 2-day long rainstorm. We've gotten 3 inches of rain so far. The floor here, everything looks good. There's a little bit of moisture coming in from the front door, but that's expected. But I haven't been out back yet where the rain tends to pile up quickly. All right. Hey. This doesn't usually have, look how empty it looks. It was so packed the other day with the vendors. But being in here in a rainstorm, it's difficult to record because it's so loud. But it's actually quite soothing. Okay, so we're gonna go down this way. And atrium's empty. This is where the trouble usually, oh yes, okay. This is where the trouble usually starts because we've got multiple surfaces with the same kind of, the water's all going usually in here. I have to kick this open. Oh, yeah. Hello. Okay. Yep. It's okay. It could be worse. It's not horrible, but it's not great. This is actually the worst I've ever seen it in here. Oof. It's all, oh wow. It's like underwater up here. Oh my goodness. It's a lot of rain, 3 inches of rain to fall. It has to go somewhere. I was actually more worried about over here because back here is where I put all the wreath supplies. And before we put this concrete pad in, all the water would go vroom and it would vroom and this would be a whole puddle over here. But the concrete pad seems to be working. At least the water's going underneath it and my cardboard boxes here are not damaged. All right, I'm gonna jump over it and make sure there's nothing up. Well, the barn's probably got some water too. Let's go check. Okay. Oh, wow. Usually there's a pathway into the barn that's got water, but I think we have enough of a lip here. And this looks okay. Oh, the back door always has a little bit of a flood right here. It's a way low spot. Oh. And you can kind of see out there between the greenhouses. It's a lot of rain to come off the greenhouses. Greenhouse number 3 is lifted. It's higher, you gotta step up into it. So no rain problems at all in here. Lucky you. Right outside though, you can see right outside number 3, we've got a lot. And this is where this is the water problems because you've got the water coming from the barn and then all of these, and that's where it runs in, right in the garage door. Oh God, okay, I'm going back in. All of that heavy flooding disappeared within a day. It was actually not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but it was the first time that greenhouse number 2 had looked like that. We have never had puddles of water in there, but everything dried up and it's still raining outside right now, but everything dried up and there hasn't been any serious damage. Last year at this time, we had already had a 3-foot snowfall. Can you imagine? No, I can't imagine. I don't want to do it. So that's okay. I won't have to do it. We'll be getting more snow, I'm sure, in January and February. I kind of hope we do because I'm a huge cross-country skier. I love to ski. I need to ski for at least a few weeks this winter and then it can go away. By March, sunshine? No, we'll have a late April snow. The last few years, we've gotten a pretty big snowstorm in April, so cross your fingers we don't get that because I lost some plants last year. Unfortunately, I lost an entire bed of Gomphrena to late cold in May. Killed it. May, like 20th. Not fun. All right, guys, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and I will see you guys soon in the next video, hopefully on New Year's Eve. I'll plan on that. Thanks for sticking around. We'll see you soon. Let me just scroll up so you guys can see this whole picture. Whoop. That. I got this from Kirkland's in like 2007.